Dentistry honestly has nothing to do with your skill set to make you a good dentist. Dentistry has a lot to do with your communication. It has a lot to do with your empathy and your passion. How you're doing that crown prep, no one sees in their mouth, but that follow-up call that I make the next day to check in on someone that had a heart appointment, that's what they care about. I really wish dental schools had like an extra class where they made you like speak in front of people and like articulate your thoughts.
Welcome back to the Story Project podcast, which is for women in dentistry who are building something, becoming something, and refusing to let the story stop there. And I'm so excited to introduce to you my friend, Dr. Shivani. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is super, super exciting.
So we were just catching up a little bit, and you and I actually met a few years ago when you were I think you might have been D2 or D3 at OSU and their ASDA Leadership Summit, and Studio 88 is a annual supporter sponsor, and we got to know you, Fiona Chambers, and just like so many other fabulous students at the time. And so I think that's how we met, right?
Yeah, it feels like such a long time ago. I feel like I've known you for so long because I've seen you so soon. It's crazy to think where I'm even at right now. And as like a D2, when I met you, I was probably like, am I even gonna be able to make it through dental school? Like going like D2 year was the most like critical and like rigorous year. And looking back now, I'm like, why did I even think that was so hard? Like, what is going on? So it's crazy. Life has changed so much in the past couple of years.
Well, and yeah, I have such respect for everyone who just puts everything into it and goes through dental school, because it is not for the faint of heart. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, I love going to ASDA. I love seeing and just like encouraging all the students, because they just it's a big, long journey ahead of them. It's not easy.
Yeah, ASDA and like so many organizations that I was a part of in dental school just honestly really made me love dentistry as a profession. Like we got to meet, like we wouldn't have crossed paths if it wasn't for ASDA and
Yeah.
Dental Entrepreneur Society and things like that. There's so many cool and amazing women and just people in dentistry I met through organizations like that I was like, I'm so glad that even through the stress of dental school that I still did all these other things just to keep myself sane. And these relationships are the ones that I've kept after dental school that's really like pushed me to like be better, do better, and really like push myself to not even like think of this as like a first year of dentistry, but just like, hey, this is your full career here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that just speaks to the power of community and connection and in-person experiences. Like we literally cannot live virtually like 100% of the time. We've got to like bring good people together, and that is where the magic happens. So,
And that's literally why I even went into dentistry because I was like, I could never sit behind a desk and do anything ever. Like growing up, my dad kept being like, you should try, because my dad does computer science, he does like the software stuff, and he was like, you'd be so good at it, like try it out, like see what, and I was like, Dad, there's no way I could sit in one spot for like 2 hours, let alone 8 hours, and do that. So yeah, I feel like dentistry really attracts people that want community and that want like growth beyond just like the same mundane every day.
completely. Okay, so before we dive into really the heart of the conversation, I want to have a little fun and help our audience get to know Shivani a little bit better. So let's play some table talk, rapid fire questions. Okay. And my guests never know what these are ahead of time, so it's just kind of on the spot. All right. Which pet have you treasured, if you had one?
I have a dog right now. I used to have fish growing up. So my mom always growing up was like, I can only raise two kids. You guys pick like who wants to leave and then we can get a pet. So we never had a pet growing up, but now Bruno's our dog and we love him, cherish him so
Aw.
much. Yeah. Love him.
Fish growing up. So
Yeah.
romantic. Oh my gosh. And then my kids wanted fish. And then finally I just like was like, no, we're done. Because mom cleans the fish tank. It was me. And they're nasty and awful. And like, I'm like, why do we have these things?
And
Like,
that's literally my mom now is she cleans it. We've had this fish for probably almost 10 years now. Like it is like you
wow.
could put it on a skillet probably. Like
Okay.
it's edible size at this point, but we love that thing. Like everyone, like even during my wedding, people were like, "Oh my God, your fish are so big!" Like when they came to, I was like, "Yeah, they're abnormal. Like we don't even know how they've made it this far."
So funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, which emoji do you use most, like when you're texting?
Oh, the little like the girl that has the side hand, like the little
Oh
sax.
yeah. Yeah. Is her hand like this or like this?
Now you're making me question which way because I really thought it was downward, but I'm like, I think you're
Oh,
right.
maybe it is. Either way, I think it is a little sass and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I do like the heart emoji a lot, probably too much.
I say I do send that one too, the one with the actual physical like hands.
Yes. Yeah. What is your favorite family tradition?
Oh gosh, we do so much. That's the thing. We typically don't miss Christmas. Like Christmas was a holiday that's not religiously in our like culture, but Christmas is something that we've like kind of taken on and made our own over the years. So every year Christmas looks a little bit different from us. Like from we it was like something that we're just like, oh, our friends are doing it, like mom, dad, can we do this? And then now we've created so many different memories with that. And no matter like where we are, what we're doing, we always end up like around the holidays coming together. And I've kind of brought in like my husband's family into that too. For the past like couple of years, we've all done Christmas together. And it's just doesn't even have to be about Christmas itself, but I love giving gifts. That's like my love language. And I spend like months thinking about like what I'm gonna give each person. And
Oh,
every year people are so like surprised. They're like, how did you even know I needed this? And like to
yeah.
me, my goal is like I want to see some tears. Like that's why I was like, I want this to be such an emotional gift that you
I
cry.
love that. That's
That's
so
why, yeah, I love gift giving. So Christmas is one of my favorite times.
okay, last one. If you could spend an hour in the company of any celebrity, who would you choose?
Taylor Swift. And I think that I know people have like their opinions about her, but I think she really evolves with every generation. Like we have seen her since I was young, and it's like whether you're 3 or you're 40, 50, 60, like people see her and she connects to every single generation in different ways. And I think it takes a very unique person to be able to do something like that and to create like magic and different generations in different rooms. And I think that like takes a lot of skill, honestly. So I would love to like
Mhm.
pick at her brain and be like, how do you even do this without people like even questioning you and like not thinking twice about your decisions? You just do it and then people accept it and you're like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like she's so authentic and just brave because she just puts herself out there, her music out there, and she's like me or not, this is me, you know? I took my daughter to go see her. It was either a birthday present or something in Indiana, let's see, at the end of her tour. So it was an experience I'll never forget ever. I mean, all the girls and like I mean, she comes out there like bawling and I mean it was just
Memorize in the moment. And she has the
yeah,
power to do that with like so many different like there's probably 40-year-olds crying and like
yeah,
10-year-olds
yeah.
crying.
I
You're like,
cried.
how did you,
Yeah.
yeah, see, how did you connect
Yeah.
with people?
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
music is kind of like that, where there's not really like a language barrier. Like everybody loves music, but it's just like not every artist can do that. Not every person can do
True.
that. It's
Hmm.
very unique.
True. Okay, we have a new segment on this podcast called the Wild Story segment. And I know every guest has one, but I did see when I was connecting with you before we podcasted that you actually didn't want to become a dentist. And so because you were overly obsessed with teeth. So tell me about your wild story
Yeah.
not wanting to become a dentist and you are a dentist.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like any of my friends you ask in undergrad, they're like, I can't believe that you decided to be a dentist. Because even from like freshman year of undergrad, I was like, oh, I knew I wanted to do healthcare. I knew I wanted to become a physician. I really thought I was going to be an OB-GYN. I spent a lot of time like exploring that profession. We had family friends that I had shadowed and had really thought about that. And I was always like, oh, we like his teeth are weird. Like, I don't think I can like talk to him or like, I can't like not hyperfixate on his teeth. Like it's just it's weird. And then all my friends would make fun of me because they'd be like, dude, like you just need to like stop looking at people's teeth because you're getting hyperfixated on people's teeth and their smiles. Like I really loved like focusing on that. And that's when I was like, oh, I can never be a dentist because I feel like everyone that would come in, I'd be like, ah, you could do this, this, this. And they're like, yeah, you could never do that. And even all throughout undergrad, I went through all of undergrad not even like looking twice at dentistry. I kind of ruled it out very initially and was like, all right, I'm gonna go to med school. Like that's what I want to do. And it was very, very late into my like senior year was when I decided I actually wanted to go to dental school.
Oh, okay.
Pushing this away, I need to like figure out what is here and like why like I decided against it. And that's funny because that's happened like multiple times in my life where I've been very fixated on like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I would never do that. And then at the end, it's like, actually, I end up doing that. It happened with Dallas too. I live in Dallas now. And initially, when I was looking on where to move, I was like, I'm going to move anywhere but Dallas. Like, I can't do Dallas. It's too Southern. Like, it's too much. And then we explored like 6 or 7 cities and ended up in Dallas. So that's the fate of things.
The irony of what happens when we obsess on things. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, before we get into anything else, I want to start off with I love talking with the women that are guests on this podcast about who they are as a human before the career, before the partner and, the life. So, who were you as a young girl growing up in Cincinnati? What was home like? What kind of kid were you?
Yeah, I grew up in Cincinnati, grew up in Ohio my whole life, and grew up with parents that really like pushed me to my potential. They were always like, you can do better. Come on, like you got this. And I was the kid that was always like shy to push myself. Something my dad always said when I was growing up was, you're not gonna fail if you're gonna fail if you don't try. Like that is part of trying is knowing you're gonna fail and just pushing through. And that's how I was as a kid. I was very apprehensive to try new things because I didn't want to fail. And my parents really pushed me to be like, hey, try this, try that. And honestly, I feel like that's kind of makes me who I am now because if they didn't push me to go try an instrument, go try sports, go do all these things, they never pushed me to be like, oh, you have to do this. It's just give it a try. And if you hate it, then you hate it, and that's fine. And I used to be the kid that had like something on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I was doing so many different things, trying things out that
Yeah.
when it came to like high school or college, I was getting bored because I was like, wait, I just have to go to class and come home and study. Like this is boring. And that's how I think that really made me who I am of like just exploring different things because I can never see myself just doing one thing. Even now, like when I'm a dentist, I can't just see myself doing dentistry and coming home. Like I have to have like side quests is kind of my whole life is side quests. I love trying new things and trying to figure it out. And that's kind of how I was raised. And it's really like in the moment I was like, I can't believe you guys are making me do all these things and like apply to this and like apply yourself there. But honestly, it really made me who I am now.
Yeah. It's amazing how formative those years are, like, up until like 11 and then even just going through high school and the values that our parents instill in us and it's annoying at the time, but if it's consistent, that encouraging, the challenging, it really, really could just build such an incredible work ethic and drive inside of you.
For sure.
Okay, so I have to ask, moving forward, you just recently married the love of your life. And I have seen, I mean, I just have to brag on her photos, and you were the most beautiful bride. I just about fell over when I saw all of your posts on Instagram. And I actually also got like slightly emotional. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just, anyways, totally stunning, full traditional Indian ceremony. So tell us what that experience was like. And like, what did it mean to honor your family's heritage, through your wedding? And what was that experience like?
Honestly, that like wedding planning was like another side quest for me. I spent so much time like curating everything I wanted. I was never the girl that grew up to be like, oh, I want this wedding. Like I never like dreamt about a specific wedding or dreamt about like a specific groom or like, oh, this dress. I was never that girl, which is why I think my parents were also surprised when I started planning it and I was so keen on the details. And maybe part of that comes from like my profession or part of like being who I am is why I ended up in dentistry, but I was really focused on the details that most people like probably came to our wedding and never even noticed. But we spent a lot of time and like good thing is Akash was also like really amazing. He wasn't the typical groom of like, oh, you do it, I'll show up on the day. No, we made our website from scratch together. A lot of our like video content that we put out was all like made by us. And initially I had hired a wedding planner, but I was like, I'm basically doing everything myself. Like, let me just be my own wedding planner. Cause I was like, why not? Like, this is me like starting off as a new dentist. So I was like, Oh, what's another thing to add on to all the news? Let me just figure it out. So, my parents like raised me and both of us honestly very traditionally of like respect your values, know where you come from, whether you decide to pursue that and continue that for your kids or your family, that's up to you. That's a decision you make, but these are the values you grow up with, and I am very close to my family, so I really wanted to bring back the traditional Indian weddings because I feel like a lot of that art is kind of lost through the years, especially when weddings are happening here. Like even when we had guests that came in, they were like, "We've been to weddings in India and they don't even do everything you guys did. Like that's crazy." And
Oh,
that's what I wanted. I really wanted like a timeless piece of a wedding.
oh gosh, that's beautiful. I mean, did your parents love it? Were they just like, were they emotional or?
Gosh, my parents were emotional like
Oh.
3 months before. So like I have never seen them be that emotional, and like wedding day was like so emotional. So I did kind of like a little snippet of a voice memo before I walked down the aisle for my parents and my brother and Akash. And that's when it finally hit them that I'm getting married. So I did like a thank you for like being my parents and like all the lessons I've learned through the process. And I think that's what they just lost it. Yeah. But it was awesome. It was good to like give my parents like also that moment for them to celebrate because it's also like a piece of it is for them too to be able to like see me as a bride and see the wedding as a whole.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Well, congratulations from me, myself, Josh, Studio 88, everybody who knows and loves you. So we're so happy for you guys. So Cincinnati for undergrad, OSU, the Ohio State University for dental school. Let's get that right. And then you move to Dallas, start your career, get married. That's a lot going on. How are you doing? How are you really?
Honestly, I'm doing a lot better than I thought. I thought I would be like there would be a lot of uncertainty, but I think part of that is like the calmness of knowing there's not any other profession that I could see myself being in. Like the life I'm living, and Akarsh is also very supportive. Like on rough days when I come home and I'm like, actually, I don't want to speak with anyone. He's like really good about being like, all right, like you take your break, see what calm down. And I think also keeping like habits for myself, like working out is really important to me. And it's been like that for the past couple of years. That's always been what's grounded me, even throughout dental school. So keeping something stagnant while so many things are changing in my life was honestly what really kept me in place. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's hard. It's hard to change, not only like to start a career, but also to start a career in a new city because you don't realize as an adult how hard it is to make friends. And yeah, and I think in dental school it's like easy because it's like something until now, some part of life has like bound people together. So it's like, oh, it's we go to the same undergrad, we're in the same sorority, or we're in dental school together. But like when you're an adult, you're creating your own life and your own memories. And especially with us starting our life in a new city, that's like kind of what we're doing now is exploring and finding our people and our home.
Yeah. And it's makes it more complicated when you are so busy and both of you, are juggling career, new partnership, marriage, and building your life in a new city. And like you're saying, so many of those kind of communities, they obviously just create organic friendships within them. That's pretty much, a huge aspect of it, whether it's organized dentistry or study clubs. And so yeah, you kind of have to go and just reset, especially if you move and just kind of start over and find those new communities, which I'm sure is a lot. I even find myself just, I mean, that's something that I've really worked on this past year is whether you know, is to grow just my friend base and to make sure that I'm making time to share life with women that are holding me accountable, challenging me, loving on me, and I can do vice versa for them. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, like adult friendships and having, especially those female friendships in your life that are just there for you and have your back.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's so important. Like healthy female friendships that really push you to be better, do better, I think is
Yeah.
just so important as an adult to kind of be that next phase in life. And even if they're not right next door, there's women that I've met through the dental community or even personally that I know like when I'm going through this in life, like I know who to call. Like one of my best friends that was also my bridesmaid, like she's not even in this country, she's in out of the country, but I still call her and I'm like, hey, I'm going through this and I know exactly the type of response that I need to hear is what I'm going to get. So I think you're so right in finding like different parts of your life, you need someone to keep you grounded for sure.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's move into a conversation around what they don't teach you in dental school, because I know that you are really passionate about talking about this, kind of the reality of dental school and the highs and the lows and the good and the things that need to be improved. But so you started out in pre-med, we talked about that, pivoted to dentistry. So was there a moment in dental school when you kind of thought, is this what I want to do? It sounds like so your senior year of your undergrad, you were like, okay, you're going to make the shift from pre-med and move into dental. So when you were in your 4 years, were you ever questioning it?
Yeah, so I recently actually made a video about this talking about how I wasn't the artistic person growing up. Like so many people go to dentistry in their personal statement, they write, "Oh, I love the science and the arts." That wasn't me. Like if you put a canvas in front of me, it's going to be the worst painting you've ever seen. Like I am not artistic by any means, but for me, I'm very detail oriented, and I think that's where my skill set lies in dentistry. And I think that's what dental school or even society as a whole fails to tell pre-dents or people in dental school to be like, no, you don't have to be the most creative person in the room. There's different skill sets that you can bring and still be an amazing dentist. Because the creative side of things can come, like skills like that are obtained or learned over time, but there are some skills that you have that will make you a good dentist. And I think part of that pre-dental route or pre-med or even in dental school, you start questioning things because um, dentistry and the profession or medicine as a whole is really good at like pinpointing good things on in other people. So it's always that imposter syndrome of somebody's better than me, somebody's out there that's doing better, is going to perform better. And that's a cycle even for me now. It's like, because I think, oh, I'm doing all these things as a first year, but then you open Instagram or you open a forum that you're a part of and you
Yeah.
see another first year that's doing 10 times more than what you're doing. So I think that's one of the biggest things that people need to know when they go to dental school or honestly any graduate school is that you bring a skill set and there's a reason why you're here. Don't let yourself question that. Take that fully and know that you have the talent to succeed in the profession that you want to be in.
You mentioned imposter syndrome. That was something I definitely wanted to touch on because we all have it. There's actually no one that doesn't deal with it at some level. And some of us, it's very loud, and then it can be more quiet. I think it depends on growth and like overcoming, like actually growing a skill to overcome imposter syndrome because we're in this comparison society. It's constant, just like you were mentioning. How do you quiet that voice?
To be completely honest, I'm still working on that skill to be able to quiet it and to be able to realize that I am doing a lot. And honestly, my husband is like what kind of grounds me there because he comes from a perspective, he's not in dentistry. So he's good at being like, hey, calm down. Like, look at yourself. Look at where you were 2 years ago or 4 years ago. Like, 4 years ago, you didn't even know you wanted to be a dentist. And look at you now. Like, you have that much figured out. So, what questions you from figuring out the other thing that you think you're not going to have figured out in 4 years from now. So I think like we kind of talked about this earlier with community. I think your community is really what does that because there's also like literally 2 days ago, I called a dentist that's a mentor of mine because I was having a hard time on a case. And I was like, hey, I don't know what to do. I feel like I should have learned this in dental school and maybe they did teach it and I just don't know. Like, there's probably somebody out there that knows it. Like, I was really doubting my skill set as a dentist. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is your first time, like, facing something like this. So take it easy, take a breath. Like, you're a great dentist. Look at, like, the patients that you speak with. Like, don't think of this as a skill set. So I think building a good community that helps you see different avenues of
Mhm.
the same problem to be like, hey, you're just like, as humans, we're so entitled to looking at things in a negative light. So having
Yeah.
a community show you the positivity of things is, I think,
Yeah.
what's important.
Did you film a story? Was that a reel about a screw breaking when you were doing it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I love that. It was just so authentic. I mean, and then you're talking with, the other doctor and you guys are trying to figure it out. And yeah, that's the real stuff that I don't think a lot of dentists talk about is that sometimes things go wrong and that
Yeah.
could probably really make you crash and have a terrible day, and beat yourself up. Or you can, like you're saying, reach out to somebody, a mentor, whoever, and learn and grow from it and get advice and counsel.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were saying by keeping the right people in your community. Because I could have called someone and they would have been like, "Oh my gosh, how did you do that?" Like, that's the worst thing that could have happened. But knowing who to reach out in that situation,
Yeah.
that's going to be comforting. And the dentist I called, Dr. Chopra, he's actually a dentist in Cincinnati, and I've known him for the past how many ever years. And he was so comforting in the situation, like, "Hey, this happens. It's okay. That doesn't mean that you're a bad dentist." Because that's the first place we go as humans to be like, "Oh my God, I'm the worst
Yeah.
thing." He's like, "You're not a bad dentist for that. Like, there's faulty material. There's like so many different things are variables other than just you."
Yes, that's correct. So
Yeah.
you're in your first year of practice now. What's the biggest thing that textbooks did not prepare you for?
Dentistry honestly has nothing to do with your skill set to make you a good dentist. Dentistry has a lot to do with your communication. It has a lot to do with your empathy and your passion. And I think that shows to patients because you can come out, and I think I didn't realize this through the textbooks and dental school, is that like how you're doing that crown prep, no one sees in their mouth, but that follow-up call that I make the next day to check in on someone that had a heart appointment, that's what they care about, the empathy of things. And I honestly wish dental school spent more time teaching us how to communicate better, because I know that's something like friends of mine are struggling with, is communicating to their patients. And this is such a niche part of my life that I didn't even know was beneficial. Was But I was in speech and debate in high school, and
Oh,
before then I was a very shy kid. Like, I hated standing in front of people. Like, even sitting and talking to somebody like this on a form, I would be so anxious and so nervous. But putting myself in that situation where it's a topic and you have no preparation, all you have to do is just yap, really, I feel like prepared me with that confidence now. And that's like one thing I always say, like, my kids are going to do speech and debate. I don't care if you think you're like a nerd for doing it, you're going to do it because it sets you up to be a good adult. It's like one of
mm,
those things that sets you up later on. So I think the confidence and the communication part of dentistry, I really wish dental schools had like an extra class where they made you like speak in front of people and like articulate your thoughts.
yeah. Oh, that's incredible. Effective communication is such a valuable and necessary critical leadership skill. And
Mhm.
so, and it's part of, whether you're doing a startup or leading any kind of team, or even just interacting and communicating, like you're saying, with patients or colleagues or the other doctors, being an effective communicator is everything. I think it's where it all begins, truly.
Honestly, you guys as the Scots are both like such role models to look at about communication. Like, both of you guys do such an amazing job. Like, I've probably heard the presentation by, you definitely know the presentation I'm talking about by Josh multiple times, and every time I'm like, how am I staying engaged? Like,
Yeah,
what is he doing?
yeah.
You guys are both such amazing speakers that you guys just like kind of bring in the audience, and it makes it so personal.
Well, it's funny. Okay, if we're talking about being authentic and vulnerability, so I don't like getting up and speaking at all.
Yeah.
And I can podcast, I can whatever. Now, when we were younger, we were in like vocational ministry, so we were like student pastors and everything. So I can command a room. But I think what happened was then I went a season of life in a different career and then I just stopped speaking. So I fell out of practice. And then you talk about imposter syndrome, and then I'm married to that guy who's been speaking since we were, he was 20 and we've been together 30 years. So I have literally grown up watching him perfect his communication gift. And for some people it's natural, it's a natural gifting. And for others it's you got to work at it. So I fall in the category of I have to work at it. So last year at the Dental Entrepreneur Woman, which you've been to the Do Retreat 2 years ago, I committed that I was going to hire a speaker coach. And so I have, as of today, I'm like in her program, Catherine Itel Belt, and she is so fantastic. And I'm just so excited to go through her training and it's going to push me. I have like deadlines and I'm going to have my, podcast content, and I have no aspirations to go and speak from big stages. But I do want to be able to feel really confident and deliver value to in any, environment or circumstance or audience I'm in front of. So it takes work. And I love that you started at such a young age and that has just really built your confidence. And I was going to say muscle memory, but I think sometimes it does feel like that a little bit. Like when you have been working on it for so long, it just kind of comes like natural to you.
Yeah, and honestly, it's something that I'm still like working on, trying to figure out how to articulate thoughts better. But like I'm saying, like it's so good to see you like do that because it's like you, to me, like looking in, I'm like, Joanna's such a good speaker, but then you're like so retrospective. Like, nah, I have a coach. Like I need to work on things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
but that's amazing. That's so exciting though. I'm excited for you. You're gonna have to tell me how that goes.
I will. I will for sure. So, looking back on your journey, what's one piece of advice that you would give to, a dental student who's worried about finding their footing in their first role, whatever they do, if they go into a residency program or become an associate? What's one thing that you did that made the difference in your first year?
Honestly, I really pushed myself. There's some days that I think like the motto that you should take as a first year is fake it till you make it, for sure, because almost every day you're going to encounter something you've never seen before. Because in dental school, you've seen a max of like what, 50 patients, and in a week in a dental office, you'll see 50. So I fully took that skill set and I told myself, like, the first 5 years of me graduating, I'm going to push myself to my absolute limit. Like, I'm going to try out everything. And there has been like dental mentors of mine that have been like, don't listen to the noise, like do the CE, go where you want to go, like really perfect your craft before you start honing in on a skill. So I've been very broad in my sense of like I've been the yes man in the office of like, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Like even if I in the back of my head I'm like doubting myself, I'm really trying to like quiet that noise to be like, just try it out. Worst case, you never have to do it again. That's really the mindset I've taken as a first year.
That's awesome. What did you wish you maybe would have known on day one?
I think knowing that not there's not going to be a perfect office for you. And I think when I was interviewing, I was really getting bogged up in that of like, these are the 10 things I need in the office. But know that you can create the environment in the office of how you want to practice, how you want to be. And I think part of dentistry is there's just so many things going on and everybody brings their own life into it. And you, as the practitioner, can really dictate the community that's in the office. And I think as a new grad, you kind of forget that because you're like, oh, I'm just a new grad. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way I can create a community to have a well-managed office, but that's kind of also what I've done in the past couple of months is really taken the office as if it's my own because I'm like at the end of the day, if I have an associate one day, this is how I would want them to treat my office is fully put in the time effort into it and that's what I've done and really tried to create a good sense of community where I like coming to work every day and I enjoy the people I work with and I try to create relationships with the staff because honestly, you spend more time at the office than you do at home on most weekdays. So
Yeah, I skipped over this part. I'm so sorry. So are you working with a single like GP practice, private practice, a group? Where are you in Dallas?
yeah, I'm with a DSO right now, and that was pretty like kind of strategic in how I wanted to do things is Ohio State did a really good job at preparing us for dentistry, which is how I knew just because I had a lot of reps in, we did a lot of externships in our last year that I knew I didn't want to go to a GPR, but I really knew there was skills I wanted to develop, like the communication, like my speed and my time and like case acceptance. And I knew if I went into a structured system where there was like practices that taught you how to do X, Y, and Z, that's where I was going to be the most successful. So that's kind of the biggest thing I was looking for when I was interviewing is where is there a structured system that I can fit in and kind of absorb like a sponge as much as I can in a short period of time.
That's really interesting. I love systems. Yeah, I think they make the world go round. And I want to make these t-shirts that say like, systems are sexy because I mean,
Oh my God,
they
send the link. We're
yeah.
gonna do this.
Okay. I think I am. I'm just gonna like create it my own brand and just whatever, make them and then send them to friends who love systems too and who are nerds like that. But I mean, if you have broken systems, then it's also, you're trying to absorb and learn and grow. It's really hard to build and do any of that if everything's broken. I mean, it affects, the team, patients, and it affects like your inner confidence and your
Yeah.
ability to like, progress.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100% because I feel like if you know your system, you know where to go back on. Like, because you can go back, even if you have a hard conversation with a staff member or patient and you're recalling that conversation, you're like, hey, typically I do X, Y, and Z. Like, how did this conversation go wrong? Or how did this patient case go wrong? I always do this. So honestly, yeah, systems have really what have kept me sane now that I've think about it. Even our wedding, like Chris is also really big on systems. We had like an Excel spreadsheet tracking everything. Like people would be like, this is like if anybody knew how much went into like the planning part of it, it was all systems. It was just like everything is automated and like we
Yeah,
know exactly what we're doing. So yeah, no, we love the systems.
that's awesome. So I know that you enjoy talking about balance and being grounded, and you've got a lot going on as we've covered. So is balance something for you that you schedule, or is it something that you feel your way through? Is there a plan? Is it vibes? Like describe how that works for you.
Yeah, I honestly used to really be a scheduler. Like if you looked at my calendar throughout dental school, like every minute was like scheduled out. Like I would like my friends would make fun of me because they were like, dude, why did you schedule sleep? Like you know you're gonna go to sleep. Like what is this? But that's how I was, is I scheduled everything. Like I would schedule going to the gym. But then I think over time it becomes natural. Like now I don't necessarily have to rely on my calendar as much, where now it's like has become vibes of like what makes me feel good. Like what makes me happy is kind of where I'm taking things. Like before, I used to be very, very strict about going to the gym like 6 days a week. And now I'm like, I have to give myself the leeway to do other things that make me happy. Like making content for my page, like makes me happy. So it's like one day of skipping the gym and doing that is going to be better for me in the long term than me stressing out about going to the gym. So now life has been vibes, but once upon a time, it was a structured schedule.
Well, and you know what, if you were early on, all of us, when we're building healthy habits and priorities, I think having a structured schedule is really important because it just helps you, build in routines and things that really set you up for long-term success and longevity in life. And I kind of tease my daughter, I'm like, you have to write stuff down or put it in our family calendar. It's just like all of this last minute stuff constantly. And we're both like major planners. So, but I will say that after years and years of like you're saying, like working out, I have my 4 strength Pilates every week, and I'm pretty much, and I used to be super intense and do 6 days, non-negotiable, and I was just like burning my body out after years and years of that. So I'm kind of like, for me, being balanced and grounded has shifted my workouts to be a little gentler, a little softer, still with weights and all of that, but just over time being a little bit more fluid with it. I
Yeah.
think our mindset and our bodies and schedules are better for it.
Yeah, that's funny that you said like the simplifying your workouts because I've been kind of in that race because I used to be like in that rat race of like, come on, I gotta lift. Like I'm sticking to this workout plan. I gotta do this, this, and this. And like me and my like planner were inseparable. Like it was I had to go everywhere with it. And even now, sometimes when I like leave it at the house and I go to work, Akrish was like, "Oh, you forgot your emotional support planner." Like that this thing kind of makes my world turn. And even like my family knows like this book is always with me. But it's been like more recently that I've been kind of letting things go. And maybe part of it is the younger sibling, because even my younger brother, like my mom has to be like, can you write things down? Like, can you tell us when things are happening? So maybe that's part of being the older sibling of like writing everything down as being the first kid. So maybe she'll grow into it.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm at least, I'm at minimum like, well, you have to learn how to be organized. It will set you up in your career, if you become have a family, whatever. And there's a lot to juggle once you move forward in adulting. It's a lot. Adulting is a lot. So,
Hey,
uh,
if she goes to Cincinnati, they'll set her up. Now you need
okay.
kids in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, I love watching you build your personal brand. You have one of the most highly entertaining, engaging, intentional brands for, a young dentist that I've ever seen. So congrats on that. I think it's fabulous. I just was curious, what made you want to build a social presence and really invest time in, curating your voice, your feed, your message just early on?
That's so kind that you say that because literally right now is where I'm like trying to figure out where to take my personal brand because all throughout dental school it was always about like let me showcase dental school, and now there's so many things going on in my life, which is part of the reason why I posted my wedding, because I don't know where the page is going right now, like to be completely honest. I'm really doing it organically of like living my life and posting my brand because initially the roots of why it happened was that's how I discovered dentistry was through social media. I didn't really know much about dentistry. I had followed dental like creators, and that's how I even found out about dentistry. So then when I got into dental school, I was like, hey, this is my way of giving back to the community that really like helped me discover this profession. And I never was really taking it seriously initially. I was like, let me just put some content out there on my journey, and hopefully someone out there that is pre-med or pre anything like discovers this, that this profession even exists. But it was never with the intent of creating a personal brand. And maybe part of that was in like 2020 there wasn't such a thing to create a personal brand, but now I am being a lot more intentional in what I'm posting to try to showcase like this is me and this is life. So now I'm trying to create a personal brand, but it was never initially the intent. Part of it was just like giving back to the community.
So the type of content that you really enjoy creating and producing, is it more educational? Like, this is like real life experiences, with the patient and things that are maybe like pain points that somebody else might be going through and kind of your journey and overcoming.
Yeah, before it really used to be just educational and not as much. I don't know if honestly before if it was my page was as genuine to me as it has become over the past couple of months. I think before I really made it about dentistry and not necessarily about me, and that's where I'm turning things down because that's where I'm seeing I'm enjoying making content. It's like about myself and like my personal journey, hoping that it helps people figure it out too. And I'm trying to be more genuine and show like the not perfect side of dentistry because I think there's, especially now as I'm practicing, I see a lot of like amazing dental work. Not saying that the dentists aren't making, they're not making all amazing work, but it's just there is like the hard parts of dentistry. I just don't want someone to look into the community and be like, oh, it's so easy to do this. Like you can be a cosmetic dentist that does like 16 teeth in 1 hour and seat them and they look perfect and they look amazing. Like, no, there's a lot of ups and downs that you have to go through. And I really hope like dental students and early people that are in dentistry at an early age, like really see that to see like, no, there's more to than just the perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is the human behind the brand. That's truly what people want to see. And of course, the education and all of that is so valuable, and dentistry revolves around that part. But people, they do want to know the authentic version of you, the stuff that makes you unique and makes you you. So I think when you are able to pull that into your brand, and obviously you have to figure out what you're comfortable with and what works and what flows, but I don't know. It's so funny. I just feel like social media is headed to a little bit less of a less produced place and a
Yeah.
little more just people getting comfortable in front of the camera and just kind of like a day in the life.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm trying to find my happy ground is how much production do I even want to do and how
Yeah.
genuine do I? So I've just been putting a lot of like whatever makes me feel like this is me today is kind of the content that goes up. And like my husband Akrish makes content too, and it's very different from what I do. His is like high production content, like he has a full camera setup that he uses. And for me, that's not fun. So that's not something that I'm gonna do. But yeah, it's honestly just naturally becoming a personal brand, which is what's making me want to continue to do it even more, is because I really do enjoy everything I've put into it.
That's awesome. For a moment before we wrap up, I'm just curious, where do you see your future going? Where's Shivani going to be? And I mean, that sometimes that's such a cliche question. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I know I'll have my people in my life, but outside of that, like, because life changes and, but
Honestly, I'm figuring that out. But to me, the reason why I went to dentistry was because I saw myself as an entrepreneur. And so that's the end goal at the end of the day. I want to create like a brand that represents me in the dental community. That would be the end goal. And I think I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do that. And one of the things that drew me into dentistry was giving back to my personal community. Like my culture is very important to me, but dentistry is not really something that is important to even like my parents when I was like, oh, I'm going to go to dental school, it's like a very foreign concept to them. They're like, oh, are you sure? Like, why? So I think that's also part of my mission is making different communities understand the importance of dentistry. And dentistry isn't just about the teeth, it's overall health. And that's a whole nother conversation of like holistic health. But I think that's my goal in the next 5 years through building a personal brand is making sure that people understand dentistry isn't just dentistry and also take that into an entrepreneurship is kind of my plan. But let's see. We'll talk again.
We'll do a podcast like, you know,
Follow up, yeah.
yeah, follow up. Yeah, yeah. Well, whatever endeavor, whatever direction you go, it's going to be, I know it'll be incredible because you are incredible. And yeah, so you have such drive and passion and intelligence and beauty, and the world just needs more women like you, more dentists like you. As we finish this conversation, I just would love to, I always love to allow the women listening to hear a few words from you specifically for all of the ladies out there. So, can you think of a woman in dentistry who is doing something right now that makes you feel genuinely proud?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard to pinpoint like one woman in dentistry. There's so
You
many.
can, you can pick more than one if you have more.
Yeah, I know I think there's a lot of women that really, like we were talking about personal brand, that use their personal brand to convey a message. I think there's Dr. Tara, who's amazing that you just had on. And she's also someone that I met very early on in my dental career that I've seen grow. And it's been amazing to watch her. There's people that I've met like in person and through social media that I see them creating a personal brand that really inspires me. There's Dr. Shaggy, who's in Dallas. There's Dr. Dixon that I met in person at a course that I've been to. There's yourself, honestly. And some of the women I met through the Duke community, like Dr. Chopra, is amazing. So it is so good to see like all these women do their own thing, but also have a main goal of dentistry.
Thank you. Well, that was I love all those women too. We're just like amazing. And I love it when you can be a part of a community like Do and then just they're all together in the same room. And that's a lot of power. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So, and finally, what would you say to a younger Shivani, the one who's still deciding, possibly doubting, still figuring out her future? What does she need to hear?
I think just do it because I think I stepped back on a lot of times that I could have taken a risk to push myself when I was younger. And right now I'm finally embracing that idea of pushing myself because I know now that there's a community I can fall on. But I would say to anyone even listening that's young and trying to figure it out, just do it. Just push yourself to do it. And worst thing that happens is you don't like it and you never do it again. That's been my motto recently. Just do it. And if I don't like it, then never again. Don't even have to think about it.
I love that. Just do it. I agree. Well, so for everyone listening, where can people follow you and get in touch with you?
Yeah, most of my stuff is on Instagram. It's Rise and Floss. Follow along and say hi.
That's awesome. Yeah. We'll make sure all of that's in the show notes. And I can't thank you enough just for being my guest and making time for this. I know you're so busy, so I appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was so fun catching up with you. I've missed you so
Oh,
much. This
I
is
miss you too. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you to Shivani. Thank you to everybody listening to the Story Project podcast. And just remember that your story is not finished, it's still being written. And we will see you guys next time.